Hi, this is part 2 of the Q2 practice final. This is the second worksheet that we're working on, so this is part 2 right now. We're starting with problem number 14. If I wanted to add these two fractions, and I know there was a little missing numbers here on your worksheet, so sorry about that. But we really didn't even need it because we were really only looking at the common denominators. So the common denominator between 12 and 8 would be 24. So if I wanted to find the fraction that gave me 24, then I would look at all the choices. So which one gave me both 24? When I look at 12 times 3 and 8 times 3, those two are not both 24. 12 times 3 is still not 24. 12 times 5 is not 24. 12 times 20, this is 60. This is 36. This is 36. But this is 24, and 8 times 3 is 24. So D would be my answer. Number 15. If I'm looking to add fractions here, I'm looking for common denominators first. So I need common denominators. Okay, we're not doing KFC, and we're not no flipping or anything. This is an addition. So remember, the pieces of the pie need to be common denominators, and that means that the slices of the pie or the pizza are the same size. Okay, so the common denominator would be 24 and 24. I'm going to multiply by 4, multiply here by 3, giving us 20 plus 15. And that's going to give me 35/24. I don't see a fraction answer like that, so I don't want A or B, but I want to divide and get a remainder. So when I divide 35 divided by 24, I get 1, and then I get a remainder of 11 24ths. So I get 1 and 11 24ths. Number 16, here we talked about in class the -4. If I have a negative exponent, then what's going to happen is the base, I need to do the reciprocal for the base. Remember, the base 10 does not become negative. Okay, so the base 10, the reciprocal is 1 over 10. So then I do 1 over 10, and I do that 4 times in multiplication. I repeat that 4 times. So 1/10 times 1/10 times 1/10. Down here, I've got 10 times 10, which makes 100. And over here is another 100. And when I multiply with so many zeros and tens, all I need to do is multiply the ones together, giving me 1. And then I just add the zeros. 4 zeros, giving me 10,000. The 10,000ths, actually. Okay. 17, which number is irrational? I know that got cut off in your paper, so you could have actually figured out just from the choices that one of them didn't belong. And it might have looked like B because it was negative, but then when you actually look at all the numbers, you notice that the first one is rational because it terminates the decimal. Terminated decimal. Okay, so is B. And because C is a fraction, it also made it rational. Rational coming from the word ratio, which means fraction. But D is not a perfect square, which tells me that it's actually irrational. The only one that wasn't like the other choices. So when you read a math question, or even with history, science, and English, sometimes you may read a question and not know what it means. But if you look at your choices, you can kind of eliminate choices and figure out the one that's kind of the oddball out, or the one that doesn't really fit. That might give you a little bit of a clue if you're totally lost. 18, the rational number here is going to be the D, because it's a fraction. Everything else, this is imperfect. So is B is imperfect square. Okay, and this is pi. Pi is definitely not rational. 19, if I work out this problem, 4 to the 7th means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And what I know about the negative exponent is I'm going to get the reciprocal. So now I'm going to multiply by not 4, but 1 over 4. So I'm going to multiply 1 over 4 times 1 over 4 times 1 over 4. So here I've got 3 fractions, and I'm going to turn these ones into fractions too. What you'll see is everything is going to be in a fraction. So I'm going to write over here 7 fours, and 3 4s in the denominator when I go to write it all out. And these are all being multiplied. Let me put that dot in between. So when I simplify, I can cancel out 1, 2, 3, and what I have left is 4 to the 4th power, giving me the answer D. Just be very careful. There's so many rules that some of us want to make and to do, but really I see a lot of mistakes because people want to just make up rules. But if you follow the rule of just expand it, anytime you see the exponent, just write it all out and get an idea of what that really means. 20 is the same way. I'm going to expand that out. 6 could be 3 times 2. Those are nice factors. A to the 4th means A. Excuse me. And then we have 2 and A in the denominator. So here we're able to cross out and get A divided by A is uno. 2 divided by 2, uno. And there we have our answer left, 3. And A. Here we go, would be A as our answer. 21. Here we have an equal sign problem where we have to find x in our equation. So we need to do friends and family because we're trying to look for x. So you can already see that in our answer. So taking the problem, I'm going to rewrite it here. Here's my door and my line, drawing my line, the door. This is the host of the party. The person close by, the 4 would be the family member, and the 40 would be the friend. Okay, so as people leave the party, we say that the friend goes first and they leave. And we always do the inverse of whatever they were doing. So adding would be subtracting on the other side of the door. Subtracting that gives me 20. That's equal to 4x. Then the family number leaves, which is the 4. And because they were multiplying, over here they're going to divide. So 20 divided by 4, x would now give me 5. Okay, C is my answer. We're almost done. 22. The decimal, that is the same as 4 6. I always like to simplify all of my fractions first. This fraction, if I divide both of them by 2, I'm able to get 2 over 3. And I want to change that into a decimal. So I want to put the top into the box. So the number on the top goes in the box when I divide. So there it goes. And my decimal, this is 0. 20 divided by 3 gives me 6. I get another 20 and another 6. And again, I'm going to get the same thing over and over, so 6 repeating. So my final answer is B. Number 23. Which fraction is the same as 1 and 0.25? Well, 1 is 1 whole. Okay. Even looking at the fractions, you can kind of see which ones have whole numbers and which ones don't. The 25, to write it as a fraction, I need to look at the place value of the last digit. So the last digit would be the 5. It is in which place value? The hundredths. Good. And 25, I'm going to write that over 100. And I do want to make sure that I always simplify all fractions. So if I simplify that, that's going to be 1 and 1/4. Okay, and if it helps you to think about it in money, $1.25 is 1 and 1/4. That's why it's 1 and 1/4. The fourth, it means quarter. I don't see this answer though, but I do see an improper answer over here, and I know that 1 times 4 plus 1 is equal to 5, so that's why D would be my answer, from mixed to improper. 24, which one has the greatest value? I would like to change all of my fractions into decimal. I think that's going to be the easiest. This fraction I know is the same as 3 divided by 4, which is the same as 3/4. 3/4 is 0.75, or the same here when I divide it. you can see me doing that when I divide. Okay, then I could divide 2 and 3. If we go back to problem number 22, we learned from number 22 that when I divide, I get 0.6 repeating. Okay, so this one is 0.6 repeating. Then 7/9, I'm going to put 7 in the box because that's the number on the top. And if I divide this, what you'll see is I'm going to get another repeating decimal here, and the number that's repeating is a 7, so 0.7 repeating. So the greatest one right now would be the 0.777 repeating, which is the 7/9. Last question, changing that to a decimal, I can go ahead and divide it right away and get 0.6. I could even take the fraction, make it into something over 100 or something over 10, which means that I would need to multiply the denominator by 2 to get 10, and the numerator I do to the same because of what I did to the denominator. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 6/10 is the same as 0.6 because 0.6 is in the tenths place, so it's the same thing. That's how I also can get D. So many ways to actually think about that as well. And good luck studying. We'll see you tomorrow.